thedailymass.com. Experience the Roman Catholic Mass from historic St. Louis Cathedral every day on thedailymass.com. His love, anywhere in the world.
Good evening, I'm Sarah McDonald.
I'm Jason Angelette. Welcome to Issues in Faith.
Well, many of our viewers likely watched or heard about the coverage of the presidential debate that was earlier this year, and earlier this week, excuse me, and we want to remind our viewers as Catholics and as Christians, for our non-Catholic or other viewers, what they need to be looking at as they prepare for elections. And I want to remind everyone that the Catholic Church is not endorsing candidates. It does not endorse platforms. It is strictly in the business of helping individual Catholics form their consciences so that they can make informed decisions when they vote.
Right. I mean, you have to look at the church and understand what is our responsibility in the world, and it's to educate, to lead, to guide the faith in matters of what to do, in a sense of how we're to live our faith out and what we are to believe. And that's what Christ, in establishing His church, He gave us He gave the keys over to Peter, and He said, "Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth will be loose in heaven." St. Paul speaking to Timothy in 1 Timothy 3:15, when he's talking about, you know where to go to for the truth, which is the church, the pillar and the foundation for the truth. So the church provides for us that avenue to help us to understand those difficult decisions. Is this moral? Is this not moral? And to be able to go into life, into our workplace, into our homes, into the voting booth with a formed conscience, understanding there are certain priorities and certain responsibilities as Catholics, as Christians, that we need to make sure that we never compromise on.
That's right. And the Catholic bishops have written a document we've used for several years now. It's called Faithful Citizenship, Forming Consciences of Faithful Citizenship. You can go to faithfulcitizenship.org. It brings you to a website with many, many resources for Catholics who want to read more about what they need to be looking at, what are the issues that are those non-negotiables for Catholics.
Right. And what does that mean, non-negotiable?
Well, Faithful Citizenship outlines several Catholic moral and social teaching pieces that Catholics should be looking at. Non-negotiables deal with intrinsic evils, basically in light of where we are at this point in time, the life issues. Euthanasia, abortion, stem cell research. We consider those non-negotiables in terms of Catholic moral teaching. You can never willingly take the life of another. That is never okay. It is the destruction of innocence. So those we consider non-negotiables. But there are other issues that as Catholics we need to look at. We need to make sure that our communities are being taken care of, that wars we enter into are just wars. And so we as Catholics are called to look at these issues, examine these issues, research what the candidates, what the parties are saying, and pray over it first. I mean, that's so important. So often that gets lost in the process. Pray over your decision before you go into the voting booth to
pray for the courage to make the right decision too, because sometimes I think people can get pressured into different candidates because of different reasons, and we have to make sure that we're holding what is true, good, and beautiful the utmost importance, our responsibility as Christians.
That's exactly right. And as Catholics, we say it so many times on the show, as Catholics, it's not relegated to church on Sunday. We are called to live our faith every day. That's what the Pope is calling for in the new evangelization. We are called to live our faith in our workplace, and the decisions we make there, and the decisions we make with our families, and how we live with our families, how we treat one another and our neighbors, and how we vote. It's in every aspect of our lives. We cannot be Catholic and separate our faith and our morals from any decision that we make.
And you look at what's going on, like we're saying, in the culture today, and there's a lot of issues, but with the issues regarding life, that is definitely the top priority of all the other ones. I mean, life stems from all of that. So if we're neglecting the importance and value of human life and the innocence of human life and protecting that life, then how can we do all these other things properly? So we have to get our first things first, foundation straight, and make sure that we're not forgetting the most important and the most vulnerable.
That's right. And again, you can go to faithfulcitizenship.org to get lots more information on this. Access is perhaps one of the oldest and most recognizable social service outreaches of Catholic Charities in New Orleans. But what is its mission and purpose? Tonight, Jason sits down with two staff to learn more about this pro-life apostolate.
Joining us tonight are Margaret Murphy and Elaine Pera, both with Access Pregnancy Services. Thank you both for being with us. Well, tell us about Access Pregnancy. What does it do? What does Access Pregnancy do?
Well, we assist women with unplanned pregnancies. We're a program of pro-life services of Catholic Charities, Archdiocese of New Orleans, and we have many services. All our services are free and confidential. We do pregnancy testing, we do limited obstetrical ultrasounds, we do online Medicaid applications so they can get in to see their doctor. We do referrals for many community resources, case management, and we do post-abortion counseling also. We've been around for 41 years. We were started by Archbishop Hannon and a few volunteers even before the Supreme Court passed Roe v. Wade. So we've been around a long time.
Do you still have a lot of the people that have been working from the very beginning with you now still?
We do. We
really?
Do.
Praise God.
Yes, on our board. We sure do. And also, we served over 1,300 women last year.
Fantastic. Well, what should a woman expect when they walk into the doors of Access?
Well, typically when they come walking in or calling, we want to find out what their needs are. And it probably is to get a pregnancy test, possibly Medicaid application, help. A lot of the women are in crisis. They don't know what to do about the pregnancy. Some of them walk in the door wanting to terminate, but some of them walk in the door wanting to parent. We don't really know that until we get them in, ask the proper questions, give them paperwork to fill out. We go in and read the paperwork, and a lot of the questions are where we get to learn what their needs are. So we're basically there to listen. We're educators, we're not professional counselors. If they need professional counseling, we give them resource information on where to find it. If it's an abortion-minded woman, usually those are the really tough cases because emotionally they're a wreck, and we just sit back, listen to what they have to say, and what I try to do in particular is try to build them up and give them positive aspects of their possibilities and their options. We give them literature on all three options: parenting, adoption, and abortion. We schedule them for an ultrasound if they want it, and that's usually the deal breaker. When they come in for that ultrasound and see the fetus's heartbeat, it's kind of hard to go through with having a termination. But then there are times when they do. We keep in touch with our clients by phone every month or so. The ones that are terminating, though, we know to call them sooner to find out, you know, if they're having problems making up their mind or not. When they get the call about that they have terminated, we always say, you know, we have a program available for you called Project Rachel. It's a post-abortive counseling program. And I said, you may feel like you don't need it now, but you will need it. And please feel free to call us back if and when you do.
Well, so what if, though, if someone is considering having an abortion and they do come through the doors? It seems like for most part Access is for someone who is in crisis, who realize this is a challenge, but maybe that might not be on their mind, maybe it is, but what if that is something that is on their mind?
Well, we give non-judgmental, like I said, it's confidential when we talk to these clients, and we do offer that ultrasound. A lot of women who want to have an abortion need to have pertinent information, medical information about that pregnancy. And if we find on ultrasound that there's a threat of a miscarriage, or if we don't see anything inside the uterus and it could be an ectopic pregnancy, that's important information for her. The idea of an abortion is not the most crucial thing at that point. They need to get medical care. So it's very important to get that ultrasound early in pregnancy, to get all the information that they can get.
Well, how much of an impact does that ultrasound weigh on the woman's, the mother's life, or
a lot.
The mother's decision?
And a lot of times, if they have family members there with them that are trying to push them into having an abortion.
Did you see that a lot?
Yes, especially with younger girls.
Really?
And what we do, though, I think we do it the right way. We have the client come in alone first, And it's up to them whether or not they want any family members in the room with them. But of course, they're given their pictures, and we ask them if they want the pictures. And 98% of the time, they want the pictures, irregardless of what their decision is going to be. But not only seeing the heartbeat, but actually hearing the heartbeat is an incredible, even for Margaret and I, you know, that we really, we have the best, I say we have the best of both worlds, because we're sonographers that get to do that part of what we do, but we also are the educators too. We get to know these girls, and the ones that decide to parent follow them through the pregnancy. Once the baby's born, they call us and we bring gifts for the baby at the hospital. And some of these girls, we're their only visitor. So we depend on donations from people in our area to help us to continue to be able to do that.
Sure, and there's an event coming up soon, but I want to ask, with regard to family and friends coming to the appointment, like, is that sometimes, you're saying, is that hurtful sometimes, or should they encourage their family or ask a friend to come with them?
Well, it's up to them. Of course, it's up to them. We give them that option. But like Elaine said, we take the client in first by herself. She gets to see, if she wants to see the screen, she gets to see what's really happening. It's not just a bunch of cells or products of conception, as the other side tries to sell, but you know, it's a living baby. I mean, 7 weeks after conception, we have a little 1-inch person with arms and legs flailing about, and there's just no denying it at that point, what's happening.
And that's, I think, sometimes is seen as the enemy, to show someone the truth is like you're making them feel bad. Why would you do something like that? And what would you say to somebody like that?
Well, we don't judge them at all. And I think that's why they keep coming back to us. You know, that's good and that's bad. But one of the things that I get told all the time is, when I come here, I feel safe. You know, I know that you all are not going to judge me. You're not going to judge me for the decision I make. We're just there to give them the information and hope that they make an informed decision with what we have to give to them and share with them, and hope that the decision is one that they can live with. How is it, this is where I want to get to the event coming up, but I'm just curious, your own journey in this ministry, how has it been for you personally, just briefly? I know that's going to be tough, but...
Well, I was in Mass one Sunday, and I heard the then director of the Kenner, where I live, the Kenner Center for us. She was talking at church and needing volunteers to come in, and so I called and said, I'll sharpen pencils. You know, I don't want to be the one to have to, you know, be the person that's responsible for that woman's decision, but I'll sharpen pencils. I'll help anybody who's doing that. And of course, I just fell in love with the ministry and just started volunteering, being a client advocate. And then it evolved. I'm a nurse, and I got to train to do the ultrasounds, and then started working with Elaine.
Praise God. Well, tell us about the event. We get the Access Pregnancy. How is it funded? And then there's also this big upcoming event at College Inn. Is that correct?
Yes. Although we are an agency of Catholic Charities, we are responsible for our own funding. Catholic Charities doesn't fund us. So we have different ways of raising funds and supplies. Baby bottle fundraisers in the churches throughout the year in different parishes. We do showers at different high schools, elementary schools. Their pro-life groups do showers for us and bring in baby items. And also individual donations, of course, are always needed, and we're grateful for them.
And then the Yale College Inn?
Yes, Yale College Inn is doing a fundraiser for us next week, Wednesday, October 24th. From 4 to 11 at their restaurant. Anybody who comes in and eats, 20% of the proceeds will go to Access.
Well, if anybody wants more information about where they can go to learn more about Access Pregnancy, to donate, maybe to also find out how maybe they can get their youth group or CCD class or high school pro-life group, whatever, to get involved, where can they go?
Well, our pro-life services director is Michelle Black, and her number is 885-1141. She can give you information. Our website is www.accesspregnancy.com. And also, I want to say that we are the only Louisiana affiliate of the National Diaper Bank, which was started to help needy families. Diapers are extremely expensive for these families who are already struggling. So we take donations of diapers and wipes, and then they can walk into our Metairie location and get
get the help they
get
need.
the help they
Praise
need.
God. Well, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for the ministry that y'all do, and God bless you, and hope it's a great success next Wednesday at Yale College Inn. Thank you. If you would like to help Access or know someone who would benefit from their services, please call 581-5433 or call toll-free 1-866-566-1399. And when we come back, celebrating the life of the first African-American bishop of the 20th century, this is Issues in Faith on LAE.
The science of learning is an imperfect one, but Louisiana Catholic schools have consistently instituted a formula for success. An astonishing 95% of Catholic school students go on to college, and last year they brought with them over $185 million in scholarship awards. Shouldn't you invest in success and the confident leaders of tomorrow? Louisiana Catholic schools, in a class of their own.
Bishop Harold Perry of New Orleans was the first African-American Catholic bishop of the 20th century. In November, the Archdiocese of New Orleans is hosting a special celebration of his life as a model of love, evangelization, and a call to vocation. Joining us now is Dr. Joyce Gilly-Cruz of the Archdiocesan Office of Black Catholic Ministries. Thanks so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we mentioned in the intro that he was the first African-American bishop of the 20th century. There was a bishop of African descent in the United States before Bishop Perry. Can you tell us about him?
That was Bishop James Healy, who was the Bishop of Maine, Portland, Maine. He was of African descent, but it was not something that he really emphasized or talked about. His father was an Irish soldier who settled here and became a prosperous plantation owner. He happened to see a woman in another plantation that he fell in love with. She was of mixed background, including African background, and he fell in love with her, and then they did not get married because in those days they could not, but they had 10 children together, and Bishop James Healy was the oldest of the 10. As soon as they were of age, their father sent them north so that they could not be bound by the issues of slavery.
Very interesting.
Because you're always, according to the mother's destination, that's what the child is.
Oh, okay. That's a very interesting point. So Bishop Perry, he's come to New Orleans. Tell us about him and what drew your office to host this event.
When I came here, people were telling me stories about him sitting on porches and about him walking the community, of how he just related so well just to the people. He wasn't just a bishop that sat in a building or did mass or anything else. They knew him somewhat personally, and so this was a continued process. I did not know as much about him. I knew who he was, I knew some of the things that he had done, but I didn't have any background on exactly what he was all about. I think one of the things that, so the people kept asking, they were asking, let's do something to celebrate him. Let's do something to celebrate him. I found out that I could not just take a bishop and do a celebration. I had to ask permission to do a celebration around bishops. So I asked Archbishop Amon if we can do this celebration, and he agreed to do that. And as an archdiocese, instead of my office doing this celebration, and that's how the celebration came about. I think one of the most powerful things is the education that I received in reference to Bishop Perry. He was a man who truly loved. Even before he became a bishop, he worked on the National Council of Interracial Council. And one of the things that he fought for real strong was this integration of Catholic schools. And he's credited with that whole piece of doing that. He really believed in what we call today racial harmony. He really believed in people being together. He really believed that, that the church should be open to all. But in addition to that, even though the times that he came into being a bishop, the Watts riots were challenging, even in the church, he did not allow the situation to impact him. he still loved, and he was that. His I love his coat of arms is taking pour love into our hearts from the Pentecost hymn, and then his motto that he used for his when he became a bishop. It says from John's 13:35, I think I got it right. They will know that we are disciples by our loves for one another.
So people who come to the conference November 3rd, who should come and what would they expect to experience? The
conference is open to everyone in the pews. But there's a special emphasis of opening up to people who may be interested in one of the ministries of the church, whether the ministry is Catholic social teachings, just faith, or if it's evangelization, or you know, any of the ministries. There is also a component in the conference that just builds people up spiritually.
Sure.
You know, somehow in the world today, it's easy for us to get spiritually depleted. So we have speakers who come and who are going to talk about God. They're going to talk about the goodness of God, the greatness of God. They're going to remind us of that faith that we were baptized in. And I think that's a powerful piece for all of us. We also have in the conference a component that is for Hispanic. It's for the Spanish-speaking parishioners
Sure.
of the Archdiocese. We have 2 speakers who are going to give their workshop in Spanish. And I think that that's also one of the things, just one
Sure.
small thing. This is a collaboration. When we started doing this conference, I went around in the Archdiocese to many of the offices and asked them to assist in making this project, this conference happen. And so we have the Office of Religious Education, the Office of, it's bad to start naming, Racial Harmony.
You always forget somebody when you start naming.
The School Office, the Office of Peace and Justice, the Family Life Office. We have so many offices. I know I'm missing someone, please forgive me. But we have so many offices collaborating in this venture, and I think that's exciting.
No, that is exciting. It's always good because then you see the collaboration and the true universality of the church.
That's true.
Coming together. Well, I told you it was going to go fast. We are out of time.
Really?
Yes, we are. But I think
Praise
your
God.
witness of Bishop Perry and how his life has impacted you is beautiful, and I hope it encourages people to register for both the banquet on November 2nd and the conference on November the 3rd. Thank you so much for being with us. Oh yeah, I have everything here.
Oh, for the additional
yeah.
piece.
Well, finally, the Bishop Perry Conference will be Saturday, November 3rd at Xavier University. The registration deadline is October 25th, and the cost is $45 for the conference. For more information about the banquet or the conference, you can go online to obcm.arch-no.org or call 504-861-6207. And we'll be right back.
I'm here today inside historic St. Louis Cathedral, a place where WLAE has broadcast the daily Mass for more than 25 years. A recent PBS ruling ensures that this valuable service will continue on WLAE for those looking for daily inspiration, and for the many who are homebound or in our area hospitals who can't attend Mass. But in order to continue to provide the Mass every day, we need your financial support now more than ever. I'm asking you to please consider donating today. We have numerous partnership opportunities available. For as little as $32 a month, you can help fund the televising of the Daily Mass, a program that lifts the spirit and enriches the lives of so many of our viewers. And for a donation of $50 or more, we will send you this beautiful signed poster of St. Louis Cathedral as our gift. Please send your contributions to WLAE TV, 3330 North Causeway Boulevard, Metairie, Louisiana 7002, or to donate online, log on to WLAE.com and click on the picture of St. Louis Cathedral. For more information on partnership opportunities, call 504-866-7411. At WLAE, we've worked hard to keep the Mass on the air. Now we need your financial support to keep it going. I know that you'll help us if you can. Thank you, and God bless.
For the past several months, a special hour of adoration has been moving forward from deanery to deanery in the Archdiocese. It's a time to pray for God to send more laborers for the harvest, priests and nuns and other religious to lead. Janet Gross has the story.
It was a sweet hour of prayer. For 60 minutes, the focus was on the Lord. For 1 hour, they prayed and listened with their hearts.
You know, because God answers us in sometimes many ways that we don't understand or don't see immediately, because we've become an immediate, generation of immediate needs and immediate gratification. We tend to think that He doesn't really listen to us anyway. I think some people just feel like, what's the use of praying? But they don't realize the spiritual benefit of the prayer on them just by spending some time with the Lord, Can you spend an hour with me? That's what He asked His disciples.
This hour was set aside to pray for vocations, asking God to send more spiritual leaders, praying that those who are called will listen to His voice.
We ask you, Lord, to send us more priests. Give men the courage to step out in faith.
This special hour of adoration for vocations began last year in the Archdiocese. It was after a trip Vocations Director Father Steve Bruno took to Nicaragua, where he saw a weekly Corpus Christi procession for vocations. Moved to start something here, these adorations are now monthly, going from deanery to deanery.
We adore you with profound reverence. We ask pardon for our sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful.
I'm hoping that each deanery will take it upon themselves to maybe go around from church to church in their deaneries once a month to pray for vocations and to call upon the people in their deanery to do it.
Already, those here at St. Joan of Arc in Laplace are beginning a new vocations mission.
As priests, we relied on our parishioners who certainly know members of their families and their neighbors much more than we do. So they would recognize and let us know some of these individuals who may have a call to the priesthood and religious life. And so it is our responsibility as priests and office staff and parish community to encourage them and to give them the support that they need to discern.
Send, O Lord, holy apostles to your church.
There were prayers for those yet to come and for those who are in seminary right now.
Coming into this year, this is a new year coming in, and we'll have 37 coming with this year's crop, so to speak.
A crop of laborers for the harvest, and here, prayers for the few to become many. I'm Janet Gross for Issues and Faith.
By the end of the year, each deanery will have hosted one of the Archdiocese-wide adoration hours, and the cycle will begin again.
If you have a question for us or have an idea for a story you'd like to see on air, write to us at Issues in Faith, 3330 North Causeway Boulevard, Suite 345, Metairie, Louisiana, 70002, or email us at questions@wlae.com. Plus, if you miss an episode, you can catch up online at www.archdiocese-no.org. And that's our program for this evening. For all of us at Issues in Faith, thanks for watching.
We'll be back next week. Hope you join us again soon. Until then, God bless.